The Queen of the Skies is no more. Qantas's last Boeing 747 jumbo jet departed Sydney, destined for retirement in the United States. Qantas first welcomed 747s in 1971, buying 6 aircraft for $135 million, the equivalent of more than $1.5 billion today. Chief Executive Alan Joyce says the risky investment paid off, and the jumbo jets quickly became a major part of its fleet.
It's been a very important part of the brand over the last 49 years. So many people will have this image of their first holiday overseas, have this image of their first trip to Australia. My first trip to Australia was on this aircraft. So that is stuck in the back of my mind. Immigrants coming into this country first got on an aircraft where they saw that welcoming Qantas employees smile. That was the first trip of coming home. People that were rescued from Bali, from Cairo, from the tsunamis will have this embedded in their minds as the aircraft that rescued them. So it has a huge amount of history, has a huge piece of every Australian's heart that's been on it.
Qantas used 65 of these iconic aircraft for close to half a century, ferrying more than 250 million passengers around the world. The fleet travelled more than 3.6 billion kilometres. But its ageing technology means the jumbos are not as fuel efficient as newer variants like the Boeing 787 and Airbus A350. Set to be retired at the end of this year, their demise has been accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Saying goodbye to the aircraft was 93-year-old Noel Taylor, who worked as a Qantas engineer for 45 years.
I was what was known as a LAME, a licensed aircraft maintenance engineer, and I was a foreman by the time the jumbo arrived, so I just oversaw all that goes on in the servicing before it departed.
Cabin crew and pilots like Andrew Packwood, who has flown jumbos since 1997, joined in the send-off.
We've had them for coming up 50 years, and we've had 65 of them all up, 31 of the 400, and sadly it's the end of an era for us. It's for Australian travellers as well. This was the aeroplane that opened up the world to Australian travellers, made it more affordable. It's such a comfortable aeroplane to fly in, and for us pilots it's just a pleasure to fly. It's a gentle giant, very stable and very just intuitive to fly.
The day was bittersweet for all involved, including Tanya Rogers, who worked on board the 747s for years.
I took some of the passengers back from the Bali bombing, so I was part of that. I've also done some amazing recovery flights as well. I took the last SP to the desert, so it's just been an amazing experience all the way.
The next stop for this aircraft will be Los Angeles, followed by the airplane graveyard at the Mojave Desert in California.
The aircraft was scheduled to depart Los Angeles yesterday morning, destined for its final resting place. Mr. Joyce says it was an emotional day.
It's been very emotional for me and all of our employees. We had some employees here that have worked on this aircraft or variants of it for the last 49 years. We have a huge amount of history. People are so emotional. I was watching our employees in tears. But it's also bittersweet because we're turning another chapter with new technology. Technology like the 787 and the 350 that will overcome that last piece of the tyranny of distance.
An iconic final flight for the beloved aircraft. Edward Boyd, Sky News.